Don't just be anything, be a mogul. Use your words to speak things into existence, and you can be a mogul in a minute. For what's new, what's hot, and how to get it, welcome to the Mogul Minute. Love always. XO.
Hey, for what's new, what's hot, and how to get it, it's the Mogul Girl, and I'm on the line with Hip Hop Mike of Hot97. What's up?
Hello, darling. How are you?
I'm good. I know it's kind of turned up because it's like 5 in the morning still. We're still grinding, still going hard. So I really appreciate you calling in for this interview. And my first question to you is, how did you get your start in radio, and what does it mean to you to be a part of one of the legendary radio stations, Hot 97 in New York?
I mean, what it means to me and how I got my start, I guess, two slightly different things. I mean, it means the world to me to be here, honestly, like just to be around the station and to work with the people I get to work with and that I've looked up to for, my whole life. I feel very blessed. But I kind of got my start, like, just kind of going to concerts and, like, trying to win tickets from Hot and reaching out to people through social media. But I always say, like, I didn't really choose to be in radio. Radio kind of chose me.
Wow, that's powerful that radio chose you, because a lot of people feel like they have to go out and chase something and look for something, and indeed when it finds you, it's like So I think that is great that the radio found you.
Yeah, I'm definitely working to maintain it and to keep it, and like I love where I'm at. But I like growing up, I never really planned to be in radio. I just had ended up kind of meeting Rosenberg, going to Rock the Bells, and like I reached out to a lot of people at Hot 97 through MySpace back in the day. Rosenberg's one of the only people that wrote back, or the only person that wrote back. So I just kind of following the great man's footsteps.
He definitely is great. So shout out to Rosenberg, and wow, that's awesome. My second question is, what's your favorite hip hop song of all time?
I mean, my favorite hip-hop song, that's a really tough question. I have a couple of them. I really like Nas's Halftime. I like Eminem, Criminal. Like, okay. I have a lot of different hip-hop songs that I love, but those are two off the top of my head.
Wow, because hip-hop, I mean, you got to love hip-hop. And you're hip-hop, Mike. I mean, the name says it all, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I could go on for days about, like, different songs that I like. Like I love Rakim. When I Be on the Mic, he's one of my favorite songs. There's a lot of different ones. Paid in Full, obviously.
Definitely. Now, you give a lot of pointers to upcoming artists. Why is it so important to you to share the knowledge? And also, what are important things that upcoming artists should have?
I mean, I think for me, the main thing is just that I think it's important for people to understand kind of like what they're getting into. A lot of people want to work in music and like make music just because they see the perks of it, and they see that it could lead to a lot of traveling and like good money and things like that. But I can't stress enough how much of a job it is, and that for artists to really want to do this, that it's something that needs to have like your full attention. You have to be able to wrap your head around it, and I'm a big believer. No matter like what you do, even if you work at a restaurant or like a bookstore, anywhere, the person that knows the most about the business that they work in is going to be the most successful. And I think for a lot of up and coming artists, they're not told that enough by people that are in the industry or that are in position. And I can't stress enough how important it is to really understand the industry just as much as you understand how to create music.
Right, because it's important. And I think knowing the background and knowing the basic and knowing the important things will always propel up underground artists to the next level, because they
it's like
they're going to start and they need that foundation.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you've always worked making cheeseburgers and then you get a job at a pizza restaurant, that doesn't necessarily mean you've been equipped to make pizza. You got to learn something from fresh,
Exactly.
So a lot of people that have learned how to make music and are really talented in it, getting into the industry is still, you trying to kind of learn something fresh.
Exactly. It's all fresh. It's all new, especially when they're like really proud and really happy about their music, and they're like, okay, well, what do I do with it? So
Exactly.
I think that's excellent that you share it and you get personal and you tell them like, yo, you need this and you need that. Like, I love that because I watch your Instagram vids and your lives, and like I think that is so like amazing that you do that and you take the time because you are at the radio station, you are in the industry, so you know different things. I think that that's great.
Yeah, like that's the thing. I have a lot of artists that'll hit me up and say, can you play my record? And I tell them they're doing a disservice to themselves if they don't have a Shazam or iTunes, because even if I play the record, how are people going to find it?
Exactly.
Most people go about finding their music by holding their phone up to a speaker these days. So if you can't find the music that way, or if they can't search the lyrics because you might not be the most popular artist yet, how are people really supposed to discover you and listen to more music and become actual fans?
True. That's definitely true. And if you could change one thing about the industry, what would it be?
I would make there be a prerequisite to get into the industry. In all honesty, I think that, the same way that you kind of need a degree to be certain things, in the real world per se, quote unquote, I think the industry needs some kind of standard and just, who it allows to be part of this thing. I think that a lot of it, has turned into people not necessarily lacking passion. And, where it's like to be a doctor, if you want to make $1 million as a doctor, you have to go through some kind of school, or like you have to be well educated in like what it actually means. And it takes a lot of hard work. And I think that's the biggest problem for me with the industry is that, a lot of people could kind of come in and take more than they're able to give to it. And, it's a shame. In all honesty, like I personally feel like these people that are out here just reposting other people's videos all day, or people that are out here just, taking money because they're influencers of some sort.
Right.
Or people that, they do these little events, but they're not necessarily geared towards helping artists, but more just kind of taking money and being like, okay, well, we're going to do this show, we're going to take your money. And they don't give them things back because they're not necessarily the most well-connected. I think that's the toughest part of the stuff in the industry is that, a lot of these artists that, like the showcases is probably the best example, is like you could have anybody come in off the street, get a venue and have a showcase and say that it's for artists. And they could call up, maybe my assistant and be like, oh, somebody from Hot 97 is going to be there. But in all reality, it's like, my assistant, if I could barely do things, my assistant really can't do much. And like, to sell it to people and take their money, to not necessarily give them a fair opportunity, that's what drives me the craziest. So I'd say there should be some kind of standard. I don't know how there would be, but I would like to see people kind of being held accountable for, being culture vultures per se.
I agree because that's definitely important because like it's almost like a scam almost. I would say like people are saying, oh, we have this, we have that here, and this person's going to be there, and then 9 times out of 10 the person either won't be there, and then they're like, oh my God, blew my money. And I mean I've seen it happen before to people, like especially when people are posting things. Everybody tells everything on the internet, and then you're like waiting for this and that to happen, and it doesn't. So. I mean,
exactly. Yeah, that's my thing. Is like, I do the showcases also. Like, I do things like that where we take money, obviously, because we have overhead and we have to pay for venues. And like, I'd be lying if I said we didn't make some money off it. We definitely do. But I also try to do it in a way that benefits the artist. If the artist does really well and I'm a fan of them, maybe I'll play their record. Maybe I'll want to do an interview. I don't like just having random people come and judge you and then just say whether you're good or not, and then everybody leaves. And like every artist that comes to one of my showcases is gonna leave at least with like some merch, from Odd Socks or like a company that I work with that could give them maybe some gear, or like they could win some tickets or something, or like, I'd like somebody to leave and be able to at least say like, at least I got something cool for my time, and like it was dope to even have, the thought behind it enough to connect the dots somewhere for them.
That's 100. That's keeping it 100. That's definitely what's up. Now you're always posting good food on your Instagram stories and in New York or wherever you're traveling to. So what is your favorite thing to eat?
My favorite food is pizza, but
mine too. Oh my goodness,
you too?
Mine too. Yes, I love pizza.
Pizza's the GOAT. I actually was a pizza man before I did radio, and like I'm a big fan of like throwing pizza, making pizza, everything.
No, that's dope. I don't know. Yeah, I think I've made homemade pizza before, but that's dope that you. I mean, that's a real passion for pizza right there. If you did it before and you actually bake pizza, that's dope.
Thank you. Yeah, I like pizza, and I'd say my favorite dish is probably there's a lobster mac and cheese that they make at Schmick and McCormick's in the Borgata in Atlantic City. That's like out of this world. Some lobster schmack. I keep the recipe in my pocket.
that sounds good. Lobster mac and cheese, that would be hitting right now. Definitely. So you've done a lot of interviews, and so what's your favorite interview that you've done of all time?
I'd say my favorite, believe it or not, is actually with It's the Real. There's some good friends of mine. They do like a lot of sketch comedy and, it's hip hop driven. So I'd say that one was really cool. What else? We did one with Little Debbie that was also awesome, but that's just because I have a crush on Little Debbie. But yeah, I mean, I'd say those are probably my two favorite.
That's cool. That's cool. It's kind of hard to pick sometimes. Like, who's your favorite interview, especially when you love interviewing. Like, I love interviewing, so sometimes it's kind of hard to pick who's your favorite.
Yeah, like I love bits and pieces of a lot of them. Like, we had one with Casanova the other day where we got to talk a little bit about his experience working in a union, and like I think that was really cool. And like, there's been interviews that I've done, like the Debbie interview. We talked a lot about weed, which like I don't know, I'm low key a weed advocate, and I thought that was dope just to talk to her because she's so involved in that community and like.
That's dope.
There's bits and pieces, but it's the real for sure, just because they're such good friends, and I think they're hilarious.
That's super, super, super cool. We all go through different things that propel us to a next level or make us greater than we were the day before. What's pushed you to go after all your dreams and goals?
I don't know. To be honest, like, I just want to be happy, honestly. Like, I actually had a good conversation with my friend about this morning, and like we were talking just a lot about, we have this friend named Nick that has like cancer, and he's like really sick right now, and we were just talking about like, life and all that. And I think my biggest goal is really just to be able to say that, like, I've done everything I can to live good and just to be happy and like, I want to be rich in, like, moments and, even more so. Like, obviously I want to ball out and buy Lambos and all that cool stuff. But, like, even just after talking this morning with my friend, like, I genuinely feel like I've lived more life than most people. And, like, I've got to do some of the coolest shit in the world. Can I curse? I'm sorry.
Yes, cool.
But I've got to do some of, like, the coolest stuff in the world that, like growing up, I was always a fan of like wrestling, and I like Stone Cold Steve Austin. And, like, I've went to his house, and like I've went to McLovin's house for parties, and like, I've met so many different people, and like I've had conversations with people like Nas and Drake, and like, I've met Jay-Z, like all these cool things that I never thought I'd be able to do when I was like, if I could go back 10 years, I was in a group home making $7 a week for like working around there, and now like to be doing decent and like, live so good. I think the time and just the experiences are like what my goals are, to just keep having great ones.
Definitely. I think experience definitely makes you stronger, and experience just opens your eyes to new experiences that you never thought were possible before. So, and definitely I'll keep your friend in prayer. And I just wanted to say, like,